everybody, it's TF Renegade here, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Japanese exclusive line, Transformers Wild King. Now, I was able to get these guys when I was in Japan, maybe June or July. It did take a minute for them to finally get these guys in the stores because Takara is awful at putting product in stores. I don't know why it's so bad over there, but thankfully, I was able to get these guys, and I gotta say, this is a really good subline. They have a lot of these little guys out right now. I was only able to get these guys, but my girl's over in Japan right now getting some more for me. So when she comes back, I'll have a couple more. But for right now, I have the first batch, and I really do love these guys. And I think Takara made a really nice move making their own subline instead of following Hasbro, because as we know, Hasbro, when they make toys for younger audiences, it tends to be really cheap and kind of crappy. So I'm happy Takara went their own way and made this awesome subline, because this is the one time where they make a toy line for younger kids where it's actually kind of fun for us older collectors as well. And Cyberworld's okay. We'll look at a couple Cyberworld figures in the video to kind of show off how they compare, but I do think that this was a way better move. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So starting off with the Energy Beast, we got the good guys on the left with Hydrophant and Lightfoot, and we got the bad guys over here on the right with Captain Volca and Leafback. And I gotta say, I really enjoy these figures so much because it's like eye candy, you know? Like, I really love the colors they put on these. They're really fun to mess around with, and they're like a weird in-between of like core class and deluxe class when it comes to their scaling. And I don't know, I just really do enjoy these figures a lot. They don't have insignias on them, so, you know, it doesn't say Maximal Predacon or Decepticon Autobot. You kind of just got to watch the cartoon or Google, you know, which one is which. So it's good and bad, because it's bad that you don't know who's who because there's no insignias, but it's also good because if you combine them with any like Optimus or Megatron, you know, it's not like you're putting bad guys and good guys. It just looks like a colorful mess, and it just looks cool. So I really do think it was a good idea not to put insignias on these guys. So starting off with Hydrophant over here, I really do enjoy this guy. He's probably my favorite just because of his colors. The one thing about all these guys is they're exactly the same skeletal system. It's just different molding depending on which animal they turn into. So with Hydrophant, he's got little elephant feet over here. He's got an elephant head over here that you can take off and you can move around if you want to, so there's some playability and customization if you want that. They do all come with energy keys. This one is really cool. I like the color blue that it is, and it's got nice molding, so you got that. He's got an awesome head sculpt. I really do enjoy that. He comes with a weapon that will turn into his tail in his beast mode later, so you got that. And yeah, I really do like the colors on him. They're really nice. And on the backside, nothing too exciting there. It cleans up pretty good, so that's it for him. So starting off with our guy Lightfoot, he's got an amazing head sculpt. I love how that thing turned out. It's pretty nice. His giraffe head kind of sticks up this way. If you want to, you can kind of move it downward. Like I like it this way. I keep it down, but in the cartoon and such, he does keep it upward, so you have that option. But he also does have this weird like knife or something, you know, like that kind of comes out of his head. So it's kind of like a weapon if you want to do that there. And like I said, you can move it over to his other arm, like so, or you can put it in his hand as a weapon, if that's something you want to do. He does come with his little pickaxe or crossbow, whatever this thing is, that will be his tail later. So you got that. He's got his energy key, which is a nice yellow. I like that color right there. And of course, it's pretty much the same as Hydrophant, just new legs for his giraffe mode, and nothing exciting on the back. So up next is our bad guy, Captain Volca, and I really like his head sculpt. It's pretty cool how that thing turned out. And I like his little eye patch there. It's pretty menacing. So you can see that looks pretty good. His energy key is a nice flame. I think it looks pretty cool. Nice thing there. He's got some nice colors all throughout his arm over here. Nice red. You can move his tail around if you want to, use it as a weapon, or put it on his shoulders. You can do whatever you want with that. It's the same system as Hydrophant and Lightlong, just different legs down here. And nothing exciting on the back. He does have molded little arms for his dinosaur mode right there in the back of his arms, but yeah, that's about it for him. So last but not least is our guy Leafback here, and he's pretty similar to Captain Volca. He's got all these little pieces you can move around over here. He's got a nice elemental thing right there with his leaf key. Looks pretty good. You can see his head sculpt looks pretty good as well, and he's got some nice green and yellow all throughout here. Nice molded details down there, and on the backside, nothing too exciting there. So that's about it for him. So when it comes to articulation on these guys, they're pretty much the same figure, so you don't have to worry about which one you choose. We're going to use Captain Volca here. Make sure you move this thing out of the way when you're doing stuff. The head is molded into place, so there's no movement there. You can't do much with that, which kind of sucks, but again, these are made for little kids, so it's not like a total awful thing. I still think it's fine. You cannot stick his arm out all the way. It does get stuck on his head, so that's a bit of a bummer too. But you can move it all the way around, which is nice. If you move this out of the way, he does have like an elbow rotation, bicep rotation, whatever you want to call it. He does have that, and he has an elbow bend, which is great, but he does not have a wrist rotation. And again, these are cheap little figures, so it's not like it needs to have that, but it would be nice if it did. He does have an awesome waist rotation, so you don't have to worry about that. He can kick forward all the way. He can kick back all the way like that. He can kick out all the way like so, which is nice, and he does have a knee rotation or thigh rotation, whatever you want to call it. He's got a rotation here, and then he's also got an awesome bend over here on his knee, so it's a 10 out of 10, of course. But when it comes to his feet, they are just molded into place, so it's a bit of a bummer, but like I said, they're cheap little figures, so for what they actually are pretty agile, but if they had more articulation, these things would be absolutely superb. So now we're going to take a look at the big boys here with Optimus and Megatron, and the first thing I got to say is this Optimus Prime design, amazing. This is probably one of my top Optimus Prime designs ever. I wouldn't say this toy, but the design of him, if they ever made a Generations version of this, dude, I would totally be on board with that. That is such a cool design. Let's actually just take a look at Optimus here. We'll get him up closer so we can see all his details. He's got an awesome head sculpt there. I love how big and chunky it is. It looks pretty good. His chest is super awesome. I love the yellow windows. I was not expecting to ever want an Optimus with yellow windows, but here I am, and I'm totally on board with it. I love how this piece kind of sticks out too. So you got the normal truck piece, and then this kind of bumps outward like so. So that's a really cool design. It's mostly meant for his energy masters later, so you can open that, and that's where all those keys go. So you got that right there. But I really love that chest design. I can't stop gushing about it. It's such a nice design. I really love that. He's got some big broad shoulders over here. A nice Autobot symbol right there. He's got his arms over here, which look pretty good. Nice little yellow thing right there. He's got some yellow on the sides over here as well. Looks pretty good. Some blue hands. We love that. He's just got some normal gray paint in the middle. He's got some yellow over here on his thighs. Looks pretty good. And then over here with his legs, you can see just silver paint there. Most of it's just blue. He's got his wheels over here, which are painted, which is nice. So you got that. And you flip the guy over. He's got some butt kibble because of his vehicle, but that's not a big deal. So I'm not worried about that. He does have these little pieces here, which do kind of... I mean, it's really up to you where you want to stick these. I like to keep them on his heels. But you're supposed to put them over here as well for like his big mode when he combines with everybody. So you can kind of stick them on his shoulders too, which if you want to do it in his normal mode, I think it looks fine too. But you do have options with that. When it comes to his accessories, he comes with a little axe here, and you have to stick his battle helmet on it to kind of make the whole look. But I think it's a really nice axe. You know, it's a cool little accessory for kids. So that's pretty cool there. And I like that you can actually stick this on here. So it is kind of like you have some storage for his stuff. So that's pretty cool at least. So, I mean, that's about it for Optimus. So when it comes to our menacing guy Megatron here, I gotta say this much. I'm not as impressed with his design, but I do think he is still a pretty cool looking Megatron. But he is just like a basic Megatron, you know? It's just, I feel like they kind of just made him whatever. You know, Optimus is the one everybody wants, so we'll just make the bad guy look normal. So it's a bit of a bummer, but he still looks pretty good. He's got an awesome head sculpt. So you got that right there. Looks pretty good. He's got some nice molded details on the top right there and on the sides of his mask. So that's pretty good at least. He's got a nice Decepticon logo right there in the middle. Looks good. Some nice silver on the top and bottom and some black stripes there. He's got some red stripes on his big broad shoulders, which looks good. He's got some nice molded details on his forearms with some silver right there. He's got silver on the back of his hands, which is a nice touch. I'm really on board with that. He's got black plastic in the middle here, some black on his hips. Nothing exciting there. Mostly all gray with just some silver and black just throughout there. He's got a big old fusion cannon, and I love that. But I think it would be better if they kind of moved a lot of that upward, you know? Like, it's just kind of weird how it sits underneath his shoulder right there. But You know, as it is a really big, chunky fusion cannon, so I like that. His big mode piece is on his fusion cannon here, so it's kind of like you got a little, I want to say like energy antennas, you know, like when he's building up his blast, I feel like the energy kind of gets trapped here. And it's like, you know, like kind of like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sounding crazy here, but I think that's a really cool looking design right there. When you flip the guy around back here, he's just kind of boring. He's got some big gaps on the back of his arms there. And then he's got some treads over here on his feet. So that's about it for him. So when it comes to the articulation on these guys, they're pretty much the same figure, so it doesn't matter which one you choose. We'll just use Optimus here, and I gotta say, I'm actually surprised how much articulation these guys do have. They're kind of limited in some areas, but I was surprised that they do have a lot of articulation. So when it comes to their heads, they can look to the left, they can look to the right, they can look all the way around. If you want them to, they can stick their arm out all the way like so. So that's really nice. We like that. You can move it all the way around. You got no problems there. You can rotate at the bicep, which is nice. But here's the part of the figure that kind of sucks is that when you're doing the elbow bend, these pop off super, super easily. And I just hate that, man. It sucks that they do that. And I was so disappointed when I first got them. I was like, really? Like, oh, they're so like cool, chunky little figures, but that's really annoying. Every time you want to move that, it just pops out of place. So that's just so annoying. But aside from that, yeah, he's got an elbow bend. He's got nothing with the wrist. They're just molded into place. He's got a waist rotation, which is awesome because the whole thing moves with no problems. He can kick forward all the way. No problems there. You got to move his backpack up, and he can kick back all the way as well. He can kick out to the side all the way, like so. So that's nice. You just got to watch that tire, kind of angle it correctly. And you can do that. He does have, I think he has, nope. I thought he had a swivel there. Nope, that's just stuck in place. Never mind, nothing with his thighs over here. He does have a knee bend, which is nice. It's a nice 10 out of 10 bend right there. So you got that. And then there's nothing with the feet over here. So that kind of sucks. But you can make him stand to a degree. So I just realized there are two differences with the Optimus and Megatron, because Megatron has a wrist swivel for his transformation, and he has a backwards thigh swivel for his transformation as well. But aside from that, everything else is the same. So now it's time for the fun part. We're going to do some comparisons. So let's bring out Cyberworld Optimus and Megatron. You can see how these two look together. And I gotta say, I think Takara made the better move with their toy line, but I do like the designs of Cyberworld. So you got those. And we'll bring out a small deluxe. We'll go ahead and put Bumblebee in the middle. So you can see he's about the same size as them. So you got that. And then we'll bring out a deluxe class MTE Wheeljack. He looks pretty good. I love how he looks with this Optimus though. It's those yellow windows, man. I'm telling you, they're freaking awesome. And of course, we got to bring out the behemoth himself, 86 Optimus. And they're about the same size. You know, you can see how they look, but if I got a version of this guy that's similar to this with plastic quality and articulation, I'd be so happy. That's an awesome design. I love it. But we're not done yet. Let's go ahead and bring out one more behemoth here. Let's put our other guy, Megatron, in the middle. You can see he's pretty much bigger than the other two guys, but you can see how he is with the Megatron. So there you go. So here we have the Energy Beasts in their beast modes, and I gotta say, these guys are really cool little figures. Now, obviously they're not like Beast Wars where the animal mode was so important too. These are just cheap robots that turn into cheap animals, you know? And for what they are, they just need to be fun toys, and I think they fit that quota nicely. Now, there is parts forming involved with these guys. You have to move their pieces around to kind of make it their beast mode, but I don't think kids are going to be annoyed by that because it's kind of fun to do that. And since these are the same molds, you can mix match the heads back and forward or the tails or whatever you want to do. So you have options to kind of mess around with these guys, and I think that's really cool. So starting off here with Lightlong, you can see he's got his nice little head here. It looks pretty cool. Nice molded details as a giraffe head. I like that. You can put his little elemental thing right here on his chest. Looks pretty good there. And his little crossbow or pickaxe, whatever it is, turns into his tail back here, which is nice. And you can see all of his robot mode just kind of bends over. You know, it's just his legs over here and his arms right here. So it's a pretty easy transformation, and I think he looks pretty good as he is. So moving on to Hydrophant, this is my favorite one that we have here out of the four of them. I really do like the blues on this guy, and I love the little elephant design on him. I love this head sculpt here. I think it's really fun. His ears can move back and forward like Dumbo. You can do that kind of thing, you know? He's got a nice snout that you can actually move up and down. His guns can move up and down as well, so that's really fun. I really enjoy that. And then you've got his little molded feet right here. That was his hands in his robot mode. And then back here, there is some transformation involved because you have to fold some stuff up, but it's not too hard. It's pretty easy. And then his little weapon becomes his tail too, and his elemental is up on the top. So he's a pretty cool figure. I like him. So moving on to Leafback, he is my second favorite. I really like the two of them because they're very similar molds. As you can see, they transform the same. They just have different pieces on them and colors. So he's a nice little dinosaur. I love the head sculpt on him. I think this is magnificent. And then you put his little elemental up there like Hydrophant. It's pretty much the same. But this time he's got a bigger tail, so you can stick that back there and it looks pretty good. And then I like the black over here with the green. I think that's nice details as well. And yeah, he's a pretty neat little toy. I like him. So last but not least, we got our guy Captain Volca here. And I gotta say, this guy is pretty cool. Now, obviously, he's the ugliest one, right? I don't think he's the prettiest one. And I would say he's probably the easiest because it's literally just his robot mode bending over that way. So it's not a hard transformation to do, but I do like the design of him. And his head can actually, or his mouth can actually open. So that's pretty cool that they actually added that in there. So yes, like Megatron, yes. His head can move down as well if you want to do that. So that's pretty cool. And so can his little tail back here. You can kind of move that stuff around. You can move his legs around and stuff. Yeah, that's about it for him. He's just a cool little dinosaur. So I went ahead and posed these guys up a little bit so you can see how they look. If you want them to kind of run at each other, they have a little bit of articulation in here. The only one who needs help is Captain Volca because his proportions on his dinosaur mode, you can't really support his weight without a stand or something. So he's the only one, but everybody else is pretty good. It's standing on their own. So there you go. So here we have the meat and potatoes of this whole stew here, Optimus Prime and Megatron. We're going to start off with Megatron because he's the easiest. He's really boring. He's pretty much just a giant brick, like a really weird fake tank for, you know, it's for kids. So I really don't think they'll care and they might enjoy this. There's no wheels on the bottom though, so that really sucks. But for what he is, he's okay. The one thing I want to say is transforming him and Optimus into their vehicles is such an annoying just chore. You know, that's all I can say. It's a chore because the pieces, like their arms and their legs, just pop off so easily, and it's so annoying. So just keep that in mind if you want to get these guys. It is pretty annoying to transform them, so you got that right there. But aside from that, Megatron is just this little tank. It's not impressive, but it's just a little Megatron tank for kids. So when it comes to our guy Optimus Prime here, he's just a thick little truck, and I really do enjoy how this guy turned out. He's a fun little truck, and I think kids are going to love him a lot. I mean, his wheels roll excellent, and he looks fun. I mean, it's the yellow colors on his windows over here that I think draws everybody's attention to it, and it's just so nice. I really love that. So I wish Hasbro would do more of these kind of colors on Generation figures like Optimus. Maybe one day we'll get a Wild King Generations, crossing our fingers, probably not going to happen. But I would love it if we did. We got some nice paint over here, nice headlights painted, and nice grill paint right there. Nothing over here on the bumper though, so that's kind of sad. Up here, I wish there was a flap covering this gap, but they're just using the helmet to cover it, so you have that. And then you got a parts form and put these little pieces up here if you want to. So you got that. Nothing exciting back here on the legs. And if you want to, you can store his little axe on him. So you got options there. So now it's time for the fun part. We're going to do some vehicle comparisons. And as you can see, we got everybody lined up here, and I think they look pretty good together. So first, we'll start off with Cyberworld. Let's go ahead and put Optimus and Megatron from Cyberworld in here. You can see how they look with everybody. Just little tiny Transformers. So you got those right there. Megatron lost his tail. That's great. And then we'll move on to the cooler Transformers. We'll put Bumblebee in here. I think he looks pretty cool with everybody. See, I got him right there. And we'll put our normal deluxe. We'll put Wheeljack in here. You got him. Kind of back up here, get more of the picture. You can see how he looks with Optimus. I think he looks pretty cool with that Optimus truck. So you got him there. And then, of course, we'll bring out the Behemoth. We'll kind of make some room in here to fit him in the middle. We'll put Optimus Prime right there. You can see his truck mode's just a little bit smaller, but obviously it looks like 10 times better than this Optimus. So you can see how they look together. They look pretty okay. So you got that. And last but not least, we'll bring out the big guy, Megatron. Go ahead and put him in the middle, right over there. You can see they're about the same size, like height, but, you know, this one kind of sucks. So there you go. So one thing I want to touch on before I combine everybody, if you take the arms off of Optimus, you can actually store them inside the legs. You can put them right there. There's a little port right here, and you can plug that in. So you can hide his arms inside the feet. Then you can make the feet for the big mode right there. So I'm really happy they included some storage options with that. And here we have Optimus fully combined with the other energy beasts, and this thing looks so cool. This is such a fun toy, and it's super colorful. I think kids are going to get a kick out of this thing. If you were able to get this in Japan and bring it to the States, I think American kids would love this thing too. It's such a colorful and fun toy, and I love this thing. It's just really cool. Now, obviously, it's not like Superion or Devastator where they're like super cool combiners that are accurate and blah, blah. These are just fun, stupid little toys, and I really enjoy it, and they're super chunky, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. And as you can see, I kind of accessorize mine with the tails over there on the shoulders, and that's the really fun part about this. You can customize these any way you want to, and I love that. I just really love the playability on this thing. It's so good. You can take his little axe here and put it in his fist if you want to. You have the option there. Or you could take like Light Long's little pickaxe thing and put it over here too. Oh, and you can see that just popped out of place. And like I said, these ports just kind of suck, so just keep that in mind. I honestly feel like they're better when you put these guys in them than the normal arms, but that's just my take. I think it's better with these guys. I think it's a little more sturdy, but I don't know. As it is, I think these are just really cool. And even the back is cleaned up so well. And they actually have energy beasts with like wings and stuff, so you could attach those to the back of this guy if you want to. And it's so cool. I want to get my hands on those and just fully deck this guy out. But as it is, this is just how he looks with these guys in these positions. So let's go ahead and swap them around real quick. And here I've scramble citied these guys into different positions. And I gotta say, I like these ones too. I like putting the tails on the legs over here. I think it makes a better look if you do it that way. And I put the dinosaur heads over there on the sides. So like I said, just a lot of customization. And I just really do enjoy how these turned out. And here we have Megatron combined as well. I really enjoy the look of him. I think he's a cool looking guy. I really like the details inside of his chest piece over here without all these energy pieces on there. I love the chain details in there. I think that's pretty cool. I also like these horns. I think the horns that he came with look pretty cool for him. So when it comes to the articulation on this guy, you can make him look to the left, you can make him look to the right, and that's about it. Can't really do much if you have the headpiece on right there. When it comes to his arm, you can lift the arm all the way out like so. Just as long as you don't have that blue piece on there, you can do that right there. And you can move the whole thing all the way around if you want to. You got the option. It does have the bicep rotation still, but it doesn't have an elbow bend, but it's really weird how this works. It's kind of like a wrist bend maybe, and I guess wrist rotation because of his like waist piece there. So I guess you have that right there if you want to. His waist swivel is compromised just because of this flap being down. So it doesn't really move around that much. It kind of gets stuck. So you have that right there. You can kick forward all the way. You just got to be careful with these guys because those ports don't support the weight of these guys that well. So that does kind of suck. And this captain likes to pop out of the place or out of the pegs the most. So you got to be careful with him. But you can kick out if you want to. If you want to do that, and right there he pops out, and he also pops out, so that's nice. And then you can go ahead and stick that guy back there. Then you can kick back all the way if you want to, and kick out to the side as well. It's really annoying how that works, but you can do that if you want to. There is nothing with the knees, so there's no rotation there. But there is a knee bend, kind of, if you can keep this in place. It's awful. So you got that right there. And then, of course, with the legs, you can kind of move them up and down because of his legs, but I don't know. Screw that. That's so annoying. But yeah, there's nothing with the legs, so yeah, that's about it. This is really annoying to move around, so that's a big disappointment. So for comparison, let's go ahead and put Cyberworld Optimus right there at his feet. You can see how he looks with him. So you got that. And then we'll bring out Bumblebee. You can see how he looks. Looks pretty okay. So you got him. And then a deluxe class, we'll put Wheeljack right there. You can see how they look together. So you got that. And of course, we'll bring out the behemoth himself, Optimus from 86. And, you know, it gives him a little bit of height, but it's really just like a couple inches. It's not really a lot there. So you got that right there. And for a special guest comparison, let's bring out our boy Superion that we just did a review on. And you can see that he is a dwarf. So it's not like the combiners are like that big with him. So yeah, Superion absolutely towers him. So he's not a big combiner, but you know, you can see how they look together. So what are my final thoughts on Transformers Wild King, at least this set of figures? I can say this much. I like the Optimus and Megatron in their robot modes. I think they look pretty cool. Optimus's truck mode's pretty alright too. I think it's a pretty nice look. I really like the Beast Warriors. I think these guys are pretty cool. I like to collect these guys because they're just fun little toys. They're cheap and easy. But that cheapness does come into play when they try to combine. I hate the peg system that Takara engineered for this. I don't think it's strong enough to withhold the weight of the figures. And it barely stays in place with their teeny tiny arms already. So that I'm just not a big fan of that. And I really wish they figured out a different way to make this work. But I also get it because these are cheap toys for kids. So that was probably like the easiest system they could have came up with to make it work. So I don't know what happened when they were engineering it. But I will say these toys are not fun to articulate when they're in their super modes. I don't think they're that good. But individually, I think these are fun figures. I really do like the Optimus and the Megatron in their robot modes. And like I said, the Beast Warriors are pretty fun. They're not like amazing toys, but they're really fun to collect and put in your collection. So for the collector's rating, this is really going to be up to you since these are so niche. And again, they're out of the country. These are Japanese exclusive. So you're going to have to figure out a way to get them back here. So you're either going to fly there and get them or you're going to ship them here. So it's up to you to figure that out. But for the collector's rating, I would probably give this a 7.5 out of 10 because, like I said, the individuals are fun, but when they combine, they look really nice, but they're so crap to move around. Like, if you put these in combine mode, it's just for aesthetics because the minute you start moving it, it's going to fall apart and you're going to get angry. So a 7.5 is fine for these. I think they're okay figures. They're fun to play with. When they're just individuals. So when it comes to the parents rating, I'm going to go ahead and give these guys an 8. I think they're really fun toys to play around with. The Optimus and Megatron are super chunky, so they're really fun. And the little beast guys are probably the best part because they're easy to transform and they're just cool to look at. So I think kids will really enjoy it. The combining aspect would probably get on their nerves just because of how poorly they stay on there. It's so annoying. But aside from that, I do think these are really fun toys that they will get a kick out of. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you guys like the content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me when you do. And leave your comments down below. That's the most important part of these videos, is what you guys think. Do you guys love these guys? Do you hate them? Or do you just kind of feel meh about them? So go ahead and leave those comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.